everyone, welcome to Beyond Facts by Factorial, the event where we're thrilled to present our latest releases designed to enhance your business and empower your team. Throughout the event, you'll have the unique opportunity to hear from our CEO and experience live demonstrations of our new product releases across various areas like time, talent, finance, just to name a few. At Factorial, our mission is just to make your life simpler. We understand your time is valuable and we want you to use it wisely. Some of you are already Factorial customers, but others may not be fully aware of what we can do. So I was going to tell you, but I'd rather show you. Let's kick things off with the video. Pretty incredible, right? Now that you got a better sense as to who we are, before we delve into our features, I'll leave you with a few of our favorite moments shaped by the diverse markets represented here at Factorial. So, depending on where you are in the world, grab your coffee or beer and enjoy the rest of this live-streamed event. Cheers!
Are your religious beliefs? I'm sorry? I'd just love to know where you stand, as our team is quite keen on welcoming other individuals with our same beliefs. Well, does that really matter? Well, it does give you bonus points. Okay, well, I'd just like to point out that that's illegal. Excuse me? According to the job referral law, it's illegal for an employer, employment agency, or union to take into account a person's race, color, religion, sex, national origin, and disability when making decisions about job referrals. Where did you even find that information? I follow Factorial on their socials, where they bring forward HR news and trends for employees and HR managers. I see.
Are you still trying to guess your team's strengths and weaknesses? Well, let me show you how to do it with Factorial in 4 simple steps. First, define your competencies, like decision-making or problem-solving. Next, rank each one on a scale of 1 to 5. Then you can add comments next to each, like how they can improve. Finally, visualize all of them as a competency matrix to quickly spot the areas they're excelling in and need to improve on. Click below to see it in action with a live demo.
¿Tú también guardas millones de tickets para registrar los gastos de tu empresa? Tu equipo escanea sus tickets con Factorial y tú te olvidas de todo esto. Sube los tickets sin ningún problema y los datos se registrarán automáticamente. Gestiona los gastos digitalmente y súper fácil. Prueba Factorial gratis ahora y dedícale el tiempo a cualquier otra cosa.
Normalmente decimos, hazte responsable y nos referimos a cosas malas, ¿no? Hazte responsable por tus errores. Asume también tus triunfos. Oye, hoy tenía una entrevista en la mañana y me decían, oye, y todo lo que ha pasado en estos 4 años, digo, y me caché diciendo lo que ha pasado. Y le dije, ¿sabes qué? No es lo que ha pasado, es lo que he hecho que pase.
tuoi dipendenti si sentono poco motivati e non coinvolti nel proprio lavoro? Ma non ti preoccupare, ci pensa Factorial. Monitora in pochi clic le loro performance e gestisci le loro competenze in maniera personalizzata. Guarda con i tuoi occhi come funziona. Vedere per credere. Richiedi una dimostrazione gratuita facendo clic.
Yuki, freust du dich auf die Messe und auf Factorial? High five! Und wen würdest du am liebsten auf der ZB Europe treffen?
Ich freue mich schon sehr darauf, Kunden und Partner, die ich bisher immer nur online gesehen habe, endlich mal persönlich kennenzulernen.
HRler bzw. Leute, die auch direkt mit uns im gleichen Touchpoint sind. Ich denke aber genau gegenteilig, dass wir auch Leute eben außerhalb des HRs vielleicht in anderen Strukturen oder Beziehungen zu Unternehmen kennenlernen möchten und HR einfach allgemein vertraut machen möchten und Digitalisierungsprozesse im HR auch an Leute, für die das vielleicht eher Neuland ist.
Ich freue mich riesig darauf, unsere Partner kennenzulernen. Bisher hatte ich sie immer online gesehen und jetzt endlich vor Ort und ein bisschen quatschen, Kaffee zusammen trinken. Darauf freue ich mich riesig. Erzähl mal, welches kölsche Bier möchtest du auf jeden Fall mit Kunden, Interessenten trinken?
Ich freue mich auf einen offenen Austausch und dazu hätte ich gerne ein eiskaltes Kaffee.
Then yeah, it's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. Static treated, we get tricked. Static kisses, we get kicked. It's a hard knock life.
La verità, gestisci ancora tutti i tuoi dipendenti con tabelle Excel e fai firmare centinaia di documenti con carta e penna? Per fortuna esiste Factorial, risparmi 30 ore al mese di lavoro manuale e gestisci tutto il personale in un unico posto. Non perdere tempo, concentrati sulle persone. Conosci meglio Factorial? Fai clic qui sotto.
Wow, that's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them.
J'ai passé ma vie à affronter la mort.
Discover the product releases that will brighten your day-to-day life.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the second edition of Beyond Facts by Factorial. My name is Jordi, one of the founders and CEO at Factorial. Thanks for following from all over the world. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And today I'm very excited because we're going to talk about some of the most amazing launches that we're unveiling today. We're going to talk about everything that we can do for our customers, and I'm very excited to hear what you think about it. Before we start with the product launches, I want to tell you one story, very simple story. And it's the story of a company. It's actually the story of any company around the world. Companies are basically groups of people with a shared purpose, a mission, and a set of objectives. And these people are all working together in able to achieve this purpose, this mission, and this set of objectives. Now, unfortunately, people in this picture are all going in the same direction.
but that's not the reality. The sad reality is that we actually made a study, and 80% of companies don't have the tools required to get data and be able to make data-informed business decisions. So I'll tell you more about the study, but I want to double-click here. When we talk about decisions and we talk about data, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about businesses. Businesses, at its core, is basically people, and these people are trying to help their clients. This is very simple concepts. This is basically all the organizations around the world trying to do that. There is one team that focuses on the people of these organizations, the people that are going to be able to make these better decisions, that are going to be able to drive value for their customers, achieve their objectives, mission, and purpose. What do we call this team? Typically, we call them HR. Here, we call them people. So again, double-clicking here, we went and talked to a few HR people, trying to understand what their reality looked like. What we did is, we did a study called Human Resources or Teams Without Resources. In this study, there are a lot of conclusions that I recommend you go and check it out, but there is one that I want to start the day with, and it's a very shocking one. The study said that 42% of companies realized that if the HR team disappeared, they wouldn't even notice it. That's the sad reality of many, many companies around the world. And that's not good. If people are the essence of organizations and people are not being helped by their HR teams, how are they supposed to achieve their objectives? So the conclusion is HR teams and employees, they're not working together. They're not really collaborating. And actually, that is true for small companies, but it's also true for large enterprises, because at the end of the day, they're just groups of people working together with a shared purpose, mission, and set of objectives. So how do we go about it? What can we do? Well, what we always do is we go and learn. We talk to people. We ask open-ended questions, and we try to understand how there can be a better world. Today's story is a story about Georgina. Georgina is a person that exists. Some of you here know her. She was one of the first HR managers that we actually went and talked to more than 7 years ago, before we started Factorial. So Georgina was the HR manager of a company with around 100 employees at the time. Happy ending, they did become a Factorial customer after a few months. And Georgina started telling us about her reality. And her reality was that she was busy every day, trying to make payroll, running around people, trying to get the correct data, and helping their employees get paid on time so that at least the company doesn't stall. She was also spending a lot of time trying to find people for the company and doing a lot of administration and bureaucracy to onboard them, right? So new hires was a big part of her time as well. And she was also managing time off, managing time tracking, and basically running around people, trying to understand what's going on and help the company operate. Now, when you ask Georgina what she actually wanted to do, what she thought HR should be, she had a completely different idea. She said that HR should be the driving force of growth for companies, that HR is there to help employees grow and to help guarantee employees' well-being. So these were two completely different realities. This is Georgina, dreaming about helping their people grow, helping their people be well and happy. But in reality, she was spending up to 8 hours a day, so basically all of her time, buried under paperwork, dealing with bureaucracy, people going to her, asking for information, being reactive, and not being this engine of growth, while she kept dreaming of how to actually help people. That is basically how Factorial was born. Factorial was born to help Georgina and the other 50-plus people that we talked to before we started the company, and the other millions of Georginas all over the world that are busy with paperwork, bureaucracy, and administration, and that are not fulfilling their dream role, which is to actually help organizations achieve their purpose. So when we started Factorial, we had to start with the basics. Georgina couldn't do anything until we helped her clear her schedule. So the first thing we did was build automation, build workflows, build software that would help her delegate all of the payroll processes, all of the time-off processes, all of the recruitment and onboarding processes that she was busy with. With that, we recovered a bunch of her time, and we could start talking to her about how to go beyond the essentials. That's when we started working on things like talent management, things like career plans, trainings, etc. We started helping Georgina do her dream job, And luckily, not only Georgina, but thousands and thousands of Georginas from all over the world. But that's not it, because we're always asking questions. We're always very curious and trying to learn how we can help them go beyond what her dream was HR should do. And then we realized that Georgina wasn't alone. Georgina had two key partners in her organization, Mark and Fatima. Mark is the head of finance. Georgina was dealing with finance every single day because she needed the expenses to be actually paid. She needed payroll to run through the company's bank accounts, which she couldn't do herself. But she was also spending more and more time with Fatima, the head of IT. Fatima was the person configuring the laptops for when employees joined the company. She was the one creating new users for all the applications that her company was using. So this collaboration, we understood, was critical to go beyond HR and into actually helping companies make better business decisions with HR, with finance, and with IT. So the takeaway from all of this, and we'll get to the exciting announcement in a second, is that you're not alone. You're not alone in the sense that HR shouldn't be alone in the core of the organization. HR is working with other key pillars of the organization's structure, such as finance and IT. This trio is critical to enable the organization for its success, to provide the tools that allow companies to make better business decisions based on data. But the more important thing is that you're not alone, because Factorial is here to help all of you, HR managers, IT managers, and finance managers, improve your organizations and help you achieve your objectives. I'm very excited for what's coming. Thank you all for being here. And now we will hear from the teams all of the excitement announcements that we're unveiling today. Thank you very much.
There's a safer way to calculate how much your team spends on software.
Hello, welcome everyone. I am Maria Luisa and I am a product marketing manager here at Factorial. And today I have the pleasure to speaking to you about a very crucial and important aspect that any organization here has to think about, and this is software management. What exactly is software management, you might be asking yourself. So, you can think of it as taking care of all the tech stuff in a company, meaning all your computers, programs, and digital tools are running smoothly. Essentially, this is like being the captain of a digital ship. We'd all love that, right? And we have to ensure that everything runs well. This is very important for all companies, and the reason why is because businesses should really put an emphasis on it because it will help them save time, work better, and finally get things done faster. It's like having a secret weapon for success in your company. Doesn't seem too complicated now, does it? Right, I'd like to take a look at some stats so we can all understand it a bit better. Did you know that companies lose an average of 30% of their revenue due to inefficiencies in software management? This is like pouring money down the drain, and none of us want to be pouring money down the drain. Also, companies have an average of 20 cloud apps and systems across the whole company. Odds are you two are overspending on these, both in cloud and softwares. For instance, imagine that you have people leaving your company and you might forget to revoke their access. That means you've got overspending going on. Finally, 70% of businesses struggle to keep track of their software spending. And this lack of control costs companies millions every year. We've seen this issue firsthand, and that's why we've made it our top priority to help businesses like yours gain control, save money, and sleep soundly at night. At Factorial, what we do is solve problems. We pride ourselves in being a software that can literally solve problems for all organizations of all types,
and for anyone who's part of that organization. That's why we decided we couldn't wait any longer and really help these two people here, the IT team and the finance team, to tackle this issue. Our aim is to simplify the complexity of software management for all companies. We understand the frustration that comes with this and all the pains involved, and that's why we've developed an easier way to manage your costs related to your softwares, your payments, and finally, your user licenses. So I'd like to take a look at an example, so maybe all of this can sink in a bit more. And if you're an IT manager or part of the finance team listening, I'm sure this will resonate with you. Let's imagine that you are a 100-employee company, and within this company, as we mentioned before, we have around 20 softwares across teams. There is a problem, though, because all these teams don't have access to all these softwares. Moreover, everything is handled through Excel. I see some faces that don't look too happy. Yes, Excel, I know. It's a tool that we all love and hate at the same time. So this means that you are aware that you need to be on top of it in order to stop overpaying for these licenses or extra seats that there might be. At the end of the day, do you really know who is using what in your company and how much that is costing you and your company? I see people shaking their heads. Great. Now that I've painted a picture for you, I'd like to ask you the following question. Are you able to easily answer how much all your teams are spending in your company on software, obviously, and whether it's easy for you to control these costs across the company? Because it's not only important to have the right tools and processes, but it's also very important to be able to manage these costs and also ensure that your company has the correct number of licenses and seats, and also that they're paying them to the right people in the company. Right, I'd like to dive into our first solution now, which is software cost control. What is software cost control? Imagine having a single dashboard that provides a 360-degree view of all your software tools, licenses, and spending. And this dashboard is providing a holistic perspective on all of your organization's software spending across all teams and all departments. So what we're offering is a unified platform that will help you centralize, track, and control your software licenses. All of this is so that you can keep monitoring and tracking all the software subscriptions that your company has. So these insights will actually allow you to optimize software allocation, and unnecessary expenses will be removed. Now, let me ask you another question. Is it a constant struggle for you to manage your software payments? I don't want to get into the whole process about acquiring and purchasing new software. Rather, what I'd like to focus here is talking about the software payment in itself and how we can make sure it's easy to keep track of all of this in a simple and straightforward way. If you have trouble with this, don't worry, because we're here to help you. With a software payment solution, you can automate all your software purchases through a virtual card, and you'll also have the ability to set budget limits. You'll be able to control all purchases with a unique virtual card for every subscription, allowing you to automate spending and bank reconciliation, saving you and your employees hundreds of hours. I'd like to share some very exciting news regarding this, and I'm hoping that you're all equally as excited as we are. Right now, you will have the ability to use software management without the use of Factorial cards. What does this mean? It means that you can upload and edit the costs of your software subscriptions manually, and we will still be able to give you the whole view of the information regarding your software spending and costs right there on Factorial. So basically, it would be the same as having Factorial cards, just not using them. Right, I'd like to ask you one final question, and I promise it will be the last one. Do you find it hard to control user access? It seems easy. However, who keeps track of all the available licenses per team, and how do they keep track of them? Who knows which licenses should go to a new hire whenever they join your company? And finally, who is the person who deactivates all these licenses when an employee decides to leave the company? It's a tedious process, and it takes up a lot of time as well. If you've asked yourself any of these questions, don't you worry, because we've got you covered here as well. Because with our SaaS, for those who don't know, software as a service, also known as software, our software license management tool will help you to secure your private data by properly removing access to all those employees who have left the company. Thanks to this, the IT administrator will be alerted of any terminated employees and any potential ongoing costs incurred. By doing so, we provide transparency on this issue. Best news, it's all available right now. So you can all start using it already. That's the reaction I was hoping for. I'm glad you enjoyed that. So let's take a look back at what we've discussed and what software management entails nowadays. There are various important factors that are needed around this, and it comes also with a lot of benefit. But thanks to Factorial's game-changing solution, you'll have the ability to analyze the cost of software in your company. You'll be able to control your software subscription payments in a very easy way. And finally, you'll also have the ability to accurately manage all your software licenses. So, what does going beyond software management mean? As I said before, lots of benefits are being unlocked here. For example, we will be able to enhance efficiency to make smarter, data-driven choices. We will be able to boost ROI to optimize costs and maximize savings. And finally, relieving stress so that you can simplify app management for your peace of mind. So I'd like for you to join us to streamline this journey of software management and experience these incredible benefits firsthand. Thank you all for listening.
There's a smarter way to know how much time people invest in their projects.
Hello everyone, my name is Alina and I'm the Director of SMB Europe here at Factorial. Today I have the pleasure to talk about one fascinating topic, how to save time and money. But first of all, why are we so passionate about this topic? It's simple. Time means productivity, and productivity translates into profits. So our mission is clear. We are here to help companies save time, because we understand that when they save time, they also save money, and their productivity soars. So how do we do it, you might think? Well, we provide tools that make planning, tracking, and gaining valuable insights user-friendly. Nevertheless, keeping track of all your employees in the work location can be really time-consuming and tricky, right? HR reports confirm that managers spend more than 15 hours each week reviewing timesheets. And here is where we ask ourselves, is this really what managers should be investing their time in? But before I start, let's dive into some exciting data from the last 30 days. We've had a whopping 5.5 million clock-ins. But here's the kicker. Do you know where these employees spent their time and what they were up to? Now, as we journey through this world of possibilities, it's important to remember that each industry has their different challenges and obstacles they need to overcome. But here at Factorial, our goal is to be the solution. No matter where you're based, no matter what industry you belong to, and no matter how big or small your business is. Now, I have a question for you. How complex is it for you and your employees to attribute the time dedicated to each client or project? Excel. I know you've had your fair share of endless spreadsheets, trying to correlate time with costs and cost with profitability. So, consultants, legal eagles, creative advertising and design agencies, this is for you. Are you ready to transform the way you work? Experience the future of project management with Projects 2.0. So companies have a pressing need to gain detailed insights into the profitability of each project. With this solution, you will have the opportunity to create several projects within a sub-project. And as well, once that time is managed, it is necessary to control the money. In the world of business, the need to associate expenses directly to a project is crucial. Now, cost and budget management are at your fingertips with Projects 2.0. This solution entitles you to seamlessly link expenses directly to your project. You can effortlessly oversee your project budget and expenses all in one centralized place. With this, you're ensuring that they stay financially on track. I can also assure you that accessing to comprehensive data on worked hours, on expenses for each project and team member has never been easier. Now, you can say goodbye to manual and time-consuming processes. With Projects 2.0, our export empowers you to download all this vital information. Depending on the information you need, you can download it with just one click. Also, listening constantly to feedback from our customers is our commitment. For those companies that don't need to track shifts strictly and operate with flexibility, we've got great news too. With our flexible timesheet feature in Projects 2.0, you'll be able to associate worked hours in a fast and direct way, without the need to go through the clock-in process. Employees can simply enter the total amount of the hours they've worked, giving them more control over their time management. And now, the best part, these features are available for you to use right now. Now, while projects are requested especially by companies like consultancies or agencies, what happened with other industries like retail or hospitality? We know you have completely different needs, but don't worry, we can help you too. So, do you belong to a company who has multiple locations, such as shops, hotels, restaurants, and a large number of employees? Do you want to ensure that everyone accurately reports their worked hours to have more precise payroll processing, preventing unintentional errors, and encourage fair timekeeping? Well, if your answer is yes, then this feature has been built for you. With the improvements on geofencing, your managers will be able to trace unexpected clock-ins in locations with just a few clicks. We also know, as I said before, managers don't have the time to go one by one to see if employees are at the assigned location. That's why we have improved geo-tracking to help your business, because we know that when you save time, you generate more money. So using this feature, you can track accurate hours worked by your employees in the work location. This will prevent unauthorized overtime and reduce labor costs associated to overtime pay. Secondly, you can make sure that employees are working at the assigned locations where they're needed the most. This can lead to increased productivity and more efficient use of labor resources. But of course, employers must balance the potential benefits of geo-tracking with the privacy and consent rights of the employees. Therefore, we have improved the precision of the communication and the transparency when letting the employees know with the location that's going to be shared with their managers. Finally, if you're a manager with a big amount of employees and locations to track, you can create virtual boundaries around your offices, so you can be notified in case employees are clocking in out the outside assigned. And if you want to review attendance and overtime costs at the end of the month, just check the locations issued and adjust as you consider. And this is the second part of, and the best part of this, that's also available for you to use right now. Now, at Factorial, going beyond time does not only mean helping you save money and gain efficiency, but giving you all the power to track time on your own terms. Thank you very much.
There's a quicker way to prevent your people from getting stuck forever.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Alina showed us how important time management is for our companies, right? But how critical do you think it is what we can do with their time, with our time? I spend my time thinking about how we can help people and companies make the most of it. I'm Alba, product manager in the performance and AI team, and I'm here to tell you how we are going beyond talent. At the end of the day, all companies share the same concerns. Are we working on the highest priority initiatives to reach our business objectives? Do we have the right people in the right seats? Are we creating effective action plans to reach our goals? Or are we waiting too long to know what's going on, by which time it's already too late to change it? Let's look at some facts to see how companies are actually answering these questions today. Half of the employee base do not have clear expectations on what their goals are and how they can impact business objectives, which leads companies to missing out on important economic opportunities and milestones. But if there's one thing even more important than having clear goals and expectations, is having the right people in the right seats. Look at this. 73% of our businesses, actually of businesses around the world, state that skill gap is a top challenge for them. And they are not blind to it. They acknowledge the problem. However, they lack resources, sometimes internal knowledge, and probably a platform that helps them cover the end-to-end employee development journey. So I'm sure we can all agree here that providing our teams with the right skill set is not just a necessity. It's a matter of survival. It's key to increasing company revenue and employee retention. Now, the first step to fixing something is realizing that there's something to be fixed, right? We all know that quality data and insights are key to identifying problems and acting on them in a wise way. And the more we identify problems and the more we act on them, the greater our chance to succeed. However, 63% of companies still conduct just one performance review per year. And they already spent weeks running one evaluation. So doing it several times a year, it's simply not sustainable for them. They cannot afford it. It doesn't make sense. And for that, they are missing out on continuous insights that could help them identify and act on those real issues that are hindering employee and company growth. So it turns out that companies do not really have the right tools that can help them answer these critical questions. And I'm going to add one more. Are we making the most of what technology has to offer to fix them? And the answer is no. Until today. Let me tell you a story which I'm sure will resonate with you. This is the typical performance management process that companies, SMBs, run along the year. At the beginning of the year, the leadership team establishes business objectives for the year ahead, and managers cascade them down to their teams. The HR team know that they need to define competencies per role, but it is very difficult to get managers on board in this process. And they cannot do it on their own. So all they can do is mapping roles, responsibilities, and competencies at a very basic level. Something similar happens with performance evaluations. We've seen that companies only do it once a year. And when they do it, they do not take into consideration the input from all relevant people that can influence and that can actually give good feedback of each employee. Why? Because this would add even more weeks of work to the process. And again, they cannot afford it. As a result, companies get poor quality and quantity of data that prevents them from creating effective action plans to reach their business goals. But how does this process correlate with the inability to answering these questions at the beginning? Well, let me tell you. Not having a comprehensive competency map per role makes it very difficult to identify skill gaps and prevents employees from having individual development plans tailored to their needs and those of the company. And without this, we simply cannot know if we have the right people in the right seats. If you conduct just one performance evaluation per year, it's almost impossible that you can act in time, that you can act before it's too late on those issues that you found out. And besides, over 80% of employees demand frequent feedback. And when they don't get it, they just don't feel engaged with their company. And if on top of that, they are not getting relevant feedback, there's danger of potential bias and making uninformed decisions. So without frequent and relevant performance evaluations and a comprehensive competency map per role that helps identify skill gaps, companies are missing out on important inputs that lead to good decision-making and lack of career opportunities for their employees. And consequently, employee retention and company revenue are compromised. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can change the story. Let me show you how we are changing it with our new performance management module. If you want to launch a 360 review to all your employees, you don't have to chase managers anymore so that they can tell you the list of peers that need to evaluate each employee, nothing like that. All this process is now automatic. You just go to Factorial, create a new review, select the right 360 review options, and then when you launch it, managers will get a task in Factorial to select the right people to evaluate each of their direct employees. That easy. And now the next step is asking the right questions. So now you can tell Factorial if one question needs to be answered by several reviewers, so that then these questions can be more easily compared. And this will be very important for us to help you spot misalignment and expectation problems across managers and employees, thanks to the use of AI. And now you're ready to launch it or schedule it for some time in the future. So with Factorial, it takes now literally 5 minutes to create a 360 review that you need. And with that, you can create as many 360 reviews as you need, which is the whole point of this. But we do all this for a reason, right? Once everybody has answered and the review cycle is closed, then it's time to see what's going on. With the help of AI, we will provide summaries so that you can easily understand what's going on before diving deeper in the hottest topics. We want you to be able to identify at a glance who's aligned, who's far off their goals, who's performing as expected, who deserves a promotion, who's ready to become a manager, who's not ready to become a manager, employees' strengths, weaknesses, skill gap, evolution over time, everything. We can now generate insights and statistics from any data point gathered in the review, quantitative and also qualitative, and aggregate them for you so that you can make the best decisions for your people and your business. And by the way, these reports, which you can send to the stakeholder that you need, will save you days of work as well. So this is how we are helping you gather continuous insights along the year, identify skill gaps and misalignments, create effective action plans to fix the issues that you find and that hinder employee and business growth, and most importantly, to have a healthy and productive organization. We've challenged ourselves to go beyond talent and create a process that takes 5 minutes and allows you to obtain as many relevant inputs as you need for each of your employees. And that's how you can answer these questions. So if you want to meet your business objectives and you want to know if you've got the right people in the right seats, get in touch. Because this new performance management module is going to be available for your next performance review. Get ready to boost what people can do with their time. Thank you.
There's a healthier way to handle contract updates.
All right, before I start, I've been told I can stand more or less here for a cool LinkedIn picture, so give me a sec. All right. My name is Edward. I'm an engineering manager in Factorial, and I'm here to talk to you about payroll. All of us in this room today, everyone listening to us online, in fact, every single worker in the world works with the final goal of getting paid, except maybe for our founders who are sitting on gold. More precisely, they're sitting on a unicorn, which sometimes can hurt. Moving on. We need to get paid to live our lives. Companies not only have the responsibility to thrive, to survive, they also have the responsibility of their employees' lives, their households. That means a delay of 1-2 days in the payment of your salary can give you cold sweat and should be avoided at all costs. Companies cannot afford to make mistakes when it comes to your money, not only because it's your money, but also because they can expose themselves to important fines. So how do they do? How have they been doing this for decades? Well, it's pretty simple. They have a lot of people putting many hours on the table of work and they do not share the workload. 1 week is how long it takes 100 employees French company that we recently talked to run payroll every month. 1 week. But should it be like this? At Factorial, we envision a payroll process that is collaborative, a payroll process that does not create bottlenecks, a payroll process that gives you confidence and control, a payroll process that works for you, not against you. So what would this look like? Well, let's start with the first story. Imagine for a second that you are a payroll specialist, and I'm sure some of you in the room are, or at least you know payroll specialists. And this is you at the beginning of the month. Now, as any other month, you start like the first few days of the month gathering data about new hires, about promotions, about people being let go, about sick leaves. But you're the one seeking for the data in Excel files, in conversations, in WhatsApps even. It is your job to seek for that data. But so far so good, you have things under control. Now this is the end of the month. While everything you had to do before is still ongoing and you're missing validations from people, you're missing documents, you don't have the accurate data, on top of everything, you have to run payroll, right? So you have to run, again, after managers for supplements, like commissions, like bonuses, like transport and food compensation, etc. So this is you at the end of the month. So like every time you've managed to do it, right? But like every time you wish somebody else was doing it. You'd wish that you didn't have to run for the data. you'd wish that there was a tool out there to make it all easier for you. Now, is there a tool? Well, let me introduce to you our new payroll dashboard. Let's say after another nightmare payroll, your boss has agreed that you look for a solution. You have contacted our sales team, and they've cut you a deal, of course, without promising a clock in from Mars feature. You've accepted that deal, and Factorial can start to work for you. You've gone through a marvelous onboarding, and you can finally opening your Dear Payroll dashboard. Once you've navigated to the group of employees for which, like for example, your monthly payroll, you can see a payroll summary of how many employees have been paid, the ones that are still pending to be paid, and you have insightful breakdowns of the payments that have been done. You also get to know about employee updates that you need to process before the end of the payroll process. You're being told about supplements and the status of them, whether you're still collecting them, whether you're validating them, or whether your bookkeeper has already started the calculation. And you're also being told about payments that you've been done, that you've inputted in Factorial, like, for example, like your regular payment for payroll or your advance payments. And you're also being told about errors that we detect that would prevent you to run payroll. In other words, unlike before, the data comes to you. You no longer seek for it. So ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, this is a payroll dashboard, and it is available now. Now let me give you another piece of data. 99% of contract changes in companies using Factorial are done by HR teams. 99%. That means every time you touch something that relates to payroll, HR teams are too afraid to delegate, so they become bottlenecks, and that's a problem. So I want to talk to you about delegating, collaborating, empowering managers and employees. And I'm going to share with you a story that relates to Factorial and to me personally as a manager. As I manage a team of engineers, we have regular performance reviews and one-to-ones, and sometimes the performance review lead to promotions, and that's great. Now, as Factorial has grown a lot in the past 7 years, we have a more stricter way of validating such promotions. When you require the promotion for someone, you need your manager to approve, maybe sometimes the manager of your manager, before you can actually do the promotion and the contract change. Now, a few months ago, Lucio on my team was promoted. And when that happened, I had to buckle my seatbelt because that was an interesting ride. At Factorial, we did not have a proper way of dealing with promotions. We had a guide. Some of you in this room know which guide I'm talking about. We had a guide with a bunch of videos and a bunch of text content that took more or less 15 minutes to digest in itself. Following this guide, I had to fill in a form outside of Factorial that would trigger then an automation that would send a notification to my own manager. That manager then had to yet fill another form that would trigger an automation that would send me a notification and tell me, hey, this is approved. And only then I could finally change the contract of Lucio. So the promotion flow was painful, very painful. All in all, I'd say it took me 1 hour, end-to-end, being extra careful. And if you imagine the many processes out there in companies, if you don't delegate these sort of processes, well, HR teams become bottlenecks once again, and that's a problem. 30 times faster, 2 minutes, is how long it took me to promote Paco recently. How? Well, let me introduce to you our new promotion flow. After doing the performance review of Paco, I simply had to navigate to his contract and select the promote option. Then I was prompted with a curated list of questions like the effective date, the new salary, the new job, the details of why I'm actually asking for that promotion. Factorial took care of triggering a custom approval that would send a notification to my manager, and my manager simply had to approve, in that case, approve for Paco. That was it, 2 minutes. It was almost too beautiful to be true. And I'm very happy, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, to tell you that the promotion flow is available now. Wrapping up, we saw that companies invest a lot of time on payroll while not being able to decentralize the workload. Both the payroll dashboard and the promotion flow are tools that tackle these problems. By centralizing the data, by empowering managers, and by getting bookkeepers engaged, companies can do payroll differently. They can go beyond that pain. They can go beyond payroll. They can put payroll data to work for their businesses and enable them to focus on what they do best, delighting their customers. Thank you very much.
Got that smile upon my face, 'cause there's excitement in the chase, this I know.
Hello to everyone here and to everyone following this event from anywhere in the world. My name is Amélie, I'm an account manager at Factorial, and today I want to talk to you about what the Factorial core teams do. But first, you're going to be asking, what is core? Well, at Factorial core teams, they fabricate the essential pieces that, interconnected, solve the big problems, and this way creates the whole Factorial experience. It's a little bit like building your furniture. There are screws and plugs that are key to putting together the wardrobe in front of which you will stand every day, creating the whole morning routine experience. But I talked about big problems, and we noticed some in the onboarding processes. The key goal of employee onboarding is to facilitate a smooth transition into the organization, both for the employee and for the company. A report from Career Builder actually found that 2 in 5 HR managers that do not capture this information electronically spend 3 hours or more onboarding every new employee. And it isn't a new topic, nor a topic specific to certain type of companies. We all face it. And at Factorial, we face it too. So let me introduce you to Sarah, one of Factorial's HR managers, and listen to what she has to say about it.
Our company nowadays is experiencing a significant growth, hiring up to 30 new people every week. And of course, new employee onboarding requires a lot of time and attention from my daily hours, especially regarding new employees' documents management. For example, if we consider like tax documents, contract documents, risk prevention documents, this is exactly the kind of work that nobody wants to do.
So, fortunately, Sarah's workday is about to become a lot better, and that is thanks to workflows and supertasks. Workflows allow HR managers to automate repetitive onboarding and offboarding tasks and to assign them to different team members and different departments involved in the process. With predefined onboarding templates, Factorial suggests a set of tasks, such as sending a welcome email, scheduling a training session, or organizing a team building activity, so that manager can build their own process and provide a positive experience to their new hires. Do you remember the screws and plugs that keep the wardrobe together? Well, the super tasks are those pieces that connect the other Factorial features with workflows. With those components, HR managers will be able to customize their workflows, according to their specific needs. The first super tasks allow employee to complete their profile information and upload documents, such as identity documents or bank certificates, all that in Factorial. And the good news is both are available now. But the Factorial core teams worked on solving other problems that systematically come up during the onboarding process. Let me ask you this. How would you rate the onboarding processes that you've experienced in companies where you worked? Please raise your hand if you remember onboarding processes that were easy, efficient, and actually enjoyable. I thought I was going to see a few hands, but I don't see any hands raised right now here. I don't know if it's the same online, but probably. But don't worry, you're not alone. Actually, the consulting firm Gallup found that only 12% of employees strongly agree with the fact that their company does a great job onboarding new employees. And a part of it that is particularly time-consuming and sometimes even painful is paperwork. At Factorial, we already have a feature to help you with document management. That's document templates. Document templates allow you to create templates with variables that will autocomplete based on the specific information of the employee who will receive it, such as their name, their address, their profile information, any data related to their contract. With the document templates feature, you can also send those official fillable forms, such as Modelo 145 for Spain, or the Form W4 for the US, or the Contrat d'apprentissage for France. Or any other type of PDF that your company uses and needs. And the employee can receive them, fill them out, and sign them on Factorial. With this option to add variable and the option to make a PDF fillable by the employee, a company can solve the vast majority of their document needs involved in the onboarding process. But you gotta be thinking, why not make document templates a super task to streamline document management in the onboarding process? This would ensure that new employees receive all necessary documentation, review it, fill it out, and sign it, while allowing me, the HR manager, to track the completion progress. Actually, good news, because this will be available in November.
But are really new joiners gonna be able to manage their paperwork through Factorial app?
Well, yes, Sarah. The onboarding super tasks can be performed from the cell phone. New employees will be able to complete their personal information, upload their identification documents, and sign the documents sent to them by the company, all that from the mobile app. And another good news, this will also be available in November. As I said before, we want Sarah's workday to be easier, and we also want new employees to have a simpler and more efficient process. We are confident that we can improve this onboarding process, and we can do that with workflows and with super tasks. And going beyond the whole Factorial experience also means that your wardrobe will no longer look like this, but like that. Thank you very much, and let me welcome Jordi back on stage.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's funny because I knew what was coming, and I was getting excited anyway. I want to wrap up a little bit. I want to review what we just shared with you. So we started with finance. As we all talked about, it's not Georgina that we're helping now. We're helping Georgina and her team. So Mark, the head of finance that worked with Georgina, will now be able to use the software management solution that we just announced with a single solution, with a single dashboard to manage all of the products improved the overspending, reduced overspending, and better control of user licenses. I'm very excited for all of you to try this. Then we moved on to Time. In Time, we saw new project management solution that will allow us to have better control with sub-projects that is connected with expenses, giving us full visibility on what we're doing per project, and also announce new flexible timesheets. We also talked about geofencing that will allow some industries that use Factorial to better track the employee's location while preserving the confidentiality and privacy of their employees. Moving to Talent, amazing new product that we worked with many of you on your feedback to improve from our first version of Talent. We are announcing Performances 2.0. Performances 2.0 is powered by AI. I know it's a bit of a buzzword, but it's true. It is actually powered by AI, where we're going to be able to deliver great 360 performance reviews. We're going to be able to get better insights without having to look at all the data that's coming to us before knowing what's important, what we need to focus on to improve our organization and help our employees grow. We looked at payroll, the ever-growing challenge that many organizations around the world spend way too much time in, with our new payroll dashboard that will allow us to better collect data, be more proactive, and allow HR managers to be on top of their game and not have to run around in the last days of the month. It will allow us to automate more and more processes during the payroll cycle, and it will provide better and more real-time insights. We also saw the new promotion flows with contract updates that will allow all of you to set up rules to who needs to approve what, so that Factorial can take care of everything. And people, managers in the organization can just propose changes, and then the rest of approvers can just make it go from there automatically, as it should be. And lastly, we looked at Core, which is what makes Factorial Factorial. These are the super powerful tools that make everything more automatic, more intuitive, and more powerful. We saw workflows and super tasks, which are ways that we can improve all of the products that we're building at Factorial. We're listening to your feedback every single day, and we're trying to implement your ideas all over the product, so we can transform employee onboarding, we can automate repetitive tasks, and we can streamline processes all over the board. And we also saw new document templates, which are really powerful ways to update and fill up documents automatically with employee data that already lives in the database. And even more exciting, we can do all of this from mobile now. I think Georgina would be proud if she saw all the progress we've made in the last few years, and even more incredibly, all the progress we made in the last 3 months since we all got together here only 3 months ago to launch our first Beyond Facts. I want to thank especially all the teams that worked very hard for building these products, but even more, all the HR managers from our clients, and now finance managers and IT managers as well, that give us their idea, that gives us their feedback and work with us to create these outstanding products, so that then we can offer them to more and more thousands of Georginas, Marks, and Fatimas from all over the world. So thank you very much. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, and we will see you in the next edition of Beyond Facts. Thank you very much.